infectious diseases, research, medicine, health. Welcome to Outbreak News Interviews. And now, broadcasting from the Outbreak News Skylar Studios in beautiful West Central Florida, here is your host, microbiologist and editor of OutbreakNewsToday.com, Robert Harriman.
Well, hey everybody, this is Robert, and welcome to today's show. Now, my guest today is the creator of the website, The Vaccine Mom, and her name is Taryn Chapman. And in this episode, we're going to be exploring a number of topics concerning vaccine basics, some immunology and immunity, and even some information for some new parents out there. So let's go ahead and get started. Taryn Chapman, welcome to the show, ma'am.
Hi, Robert. Thanks for having me.
You bet. I appreciate you coming on. And let's go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience. Who is Taryn Chapman, and what are you all about?
Yeah, I'm a molecular biologist, and my research is in vaccinology and virology, and I kind of dabble in the immune system stuff. I have 2 children, so I'm a mom. Yeah.
Okay. And you started this website called The Vaccine Mom. Why did you start it, and do you have a particular goal with this website?
Yeah, I do. I'm really focusing on changing the way that we talk about vaccines, especially, as parents. So my big thing is educating in a way that's just non-judgmental, putting the facts out there, whether they're good or bad, and just a way that everybody can understand.
Excellent. And I've visited the website a number of times, and I do definitely enjoy the content.
Oh, great. Thanks.
And now, part of the goal of this program today is to educate about vaccines, and you are the right person for the task.
Thank you.
So let's start out with the basics, Taryn. What are vaccines?
Well, it's something that we put into our body that's, part of a virus or a bacteria. And sometimes the virus is a killed virus. Sometimes it's a weakened virus. The bacteria may have a part of just the bacteria, maybe a toxin. So it's basically just something that your body can recognize as foreign. So it's going to come in, it's going to attack that little piece or part of the virus or whatever it is, and it's going to make an immune response to it so that it can fight it off again in the future should, you ever get that virus or bacteria in your body.
Right. And we're going to talk about the immune response momentarily. But a lot of things that people are interested in is, how are vaccines made and how do they actually get out to the public?
So a vaccine, like I said, has these things that your body can see and recognize as foreign. So we call those antigens. And that's, maybe a protein or something that your body can make an immune response to. So basically what happens is it kind of starts in the lab and we're kind of testing, what's the antigen going to be. And that kind of just goes on for a while, sometimes a couple of years. I mean, it really does take a while to figure all that out. And then I guess from there, we kind of go into this testing with tissues and cells and animals so that we can kind of figure out how it's working. And then from there, we want to get a sponsor. You want somebody that's going to give you some money to start doing some testing on people just to see, first off, how many doses you need, what the schedule's going to be like, what the safety is going to be like. And then from there, we kind of move on and we want to get, thousands of people, big groups of people. We want to look at how the vaccine works compared to a placebo, something that doesn't contain those particles in the vaccine. So we're just looking at how the body's responding and the safety. And then from there, you're going to want to get it licensed and then picked up by, say, a vaccine manufacturer. And then that manufacturer continues testing and safety and monitoring, everything that's going on there. So.
Right. So a vaccine really goes through a lot of safety
right.
testing, efficacy testing, and then ultimately it has to go through a lot of regulatory. Right. Okay. In the simplest terms possible, can you explain to the audience how the immune system works? That's a big topic. Big topic, but
yes.
Reader's Digest version.
Okay, that's a question that I could go on for hours because the immune system's so complex. Let's see. So I guess basically the immune system is composed of a bunch of cells and tissues that all work together to basically fight off intruders and make memory so that they can fight off those intruders better next time, so that they're going to get them next time. I don't know if you're interested in maybe some different types of the immune system.
Sure, go ahead.
So let's see. So we have passive immunity, which would be like, let's say, from mom to baby, breast milk, that kind of thing. So antibodies are going into the body and you're not physically making them. And then we have these two other sort of systems that work together. So you have your innate immune system, and then you have your adaptive immune system. And your innate immune system is like that kind of primal, that first line of defense. And this is really cool. So when I was in grad school, actually, we learned about this system as, well, first off, your skin is a big part of it. It's a barrier. But then we learned the system is like, if you picture your body as a hollow tube, so your mouth down, down through your throat, all the way to your tummy, to your intestines, and out, it's like a hollow tube. So you have protection from the outside, your skin, and then you also have protection around this hollow tube. So that is kind of that first line of defense, which keeps your intruders out. So that system really works with the bigger system, which is the adaptive system, which has most of that immune response. Like I said, they work together. They have cells that work together, but this really big immune response, the stuff that is going to attack, the intruders and make the memories and stuff, kind of comes more from that more complex system. But they do work together, so cells work back and forth. But as far as the vaccine's concerned, you're showing that antigen to the immune system, so that immune system's going to respond and then make those memory cells, those cells that are going to remember that, and those cells produce the antibodies that are also going to remember that antigen, and then should that enter your body again, that's going to attack that antigen. So that's what the vaccine does. It puts that antigen in your body without making you sick, and your body's going to remember it.
Okay.
So that's in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Well done. Now, now you kind of already touched on this, but there is a difference between the immune system of, say, a newborn versus somebody of more years, for example. Yeah. So as you mentioned, the newborn is going to get a lot of the antibody from the mom, but as we get older, we produce our own. And then even as we get older and older, our immune system gets weaker.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Taryn, something we see in the news a lot, particularly when measles outbreaks come up, is a term called herd immunity. Can you break it down? What does it mean when someone says herd immunity?
Oh, goodness, this is one of my favorite things. I love this concept because it's so important. I kind of think of herd immunity just, as a herd. If you kind of thought of it as cows, herd of cows or something, surrounding their baby cow, maybe a herd of elephants surrounding their baby elephant, protecting it. It's kind of like that in the community. If we have a bunch of vaccinated children surrounding those kids that can't be vaccinated. So you think about your neighbor's kid that has cancer maybe and can't get the MMR vaccine, or, the baby down the street who's too young to be vaccinated, grandma. All those people are protected just because all of our other children are vaccinated. So they're kind of keeping those diseases out of the community. So I think it's so important.
Well, let's talk about side effects. We hear a lot about vaccine side effects. What do we know to actually be true, and what has been proven false?
Well, what's true, honestly, what I believe is that vaccine manufacturers really, they don't want a bad product. And I think a lot of, people think that vaccine manufacturers are, keeping side effects under wraps because they don't want you to know about. But honestly, they don't want to have a bad product. They want these things to be safe, and they're always testing to make sure that these vaccines are safe, that they have low side effects, which they do. And, one thing that comes to mind being true is the MMR vaccine with autism. There was a lot of really kind of hard things that came out about this MMR vaccine. There was some research done, and the research came out as falsified, but the research stated that vaccines were linked to autism. So this, once people got this in their head, kind of became true to them. But honestly, this research cannot be reproduced. They can't link it in any way. This team that, kind of started this whole thing.
You're talking about the Wakefield
Yeah,
studies.
the Wakefield. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The Wakefield research. But yeah, that kind of thing is, the links to these links to these diseases.
And since then, there's been dozens of studies that have proved that there is no link.
Right.
Between the MMR.
They can't come up with that link again. So
right.
It's completely been thrown out. And I just hope people can kind of realize that's happened and, maybe come past that,
All right. Let's switch gears to another thing that anti-vaxxers frequently say are these different concerns about different chemicals found in the vaccines, like thimerosal, for example. What's the story concerning vaccines containing chemicals?
Well, some vaccines have preservatives like thimerosal, and thimerosal is mercury containing. So the one thing about this, and I don't think people quite know this, is there's a couple kinds of mercury. So we have the mercury that's found in seafood and, some in the environment. And that kind of mercury is, that is methyl mercury. And methyl mercury can accumulate in your body, and it's a neurotoxin. So people kind of got this idea that mercury is really, really bad, and, that's what they say, you don't eat a lot of salmon or, big fish because it'll accumulate. And the thing about thimerosal is it's a whole different kind of mercury. It's ethyl mercury. So you just change a little bit of that formula, and it's a completely different, it acts completely differently in your body. So this kind of mercury breaks down easily. It's excreted easily, so, it comes out in the poop, I think. Sorry. So it's, it comes out easily. It's not anything that we need to worry about. I think it's such tiny, tiny amounts of mercury in some of these vaccines that it really isn't a big deal. And if people are worried about that kind of mercury, there are all different kinds of alternatives. So you don't have to get a mercury vaccine. Those vaccines too that do contain mercury, because they're preservatives, are only for multi-dose vials. So that means they're sticking the needle in, using the needle, going back for the next patient, using a different needle. So it's making sure that you're not growing germs, in that vial. So it is kind of important for some of these vaccines.
Now, on the Vaccine Mom, in a recent post, you outlined 7 newborn vaccines your baby needs. Taryn, can you talk about these vaccines and their importance?
Well, yeah, they're super important. You start with that Hep B Hep B vaccine in the hospital with your baby before your baby even leaves the hospital. That's super important because, baby could pick that up. Liver damage, she's so young. We talked about the immune system being a little bit, immature at that point. You get Hep B again at 2 months. Let's see what else. You get DTaP, which is diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. Super important for babies. You get the Hib vaccine, which is it keeps the baby from getting pneumonia, so bacteria. They get rotavirus, which is rotavirus causes some pretty nasty diarrhea, which can really put your kid in the hospital, if they get that dehydrated. They get polio. And polio, I'm sure a lot of us, youngins haven't seen in our lifetime. But that's super debilitating. I mean, it can paralyze your child. So that's important. And then another pneumococcal vaccine they get, so to keep them from getting pneumonia, meningitis. So these are all really important. Like I said, the baby's immune system is a lot more immature than ours. And at that point, the maternal antibodies that they got from mommy are starting to go away. So they need to get those shots so that they, start producing their own antibodies.
Yeah, I mean, the HIB, the Haemophilus influenza B vaccine, I mean, that's been such a incredible success. I can remember when I was much younger, that was such a common cause of meningitis and septicemia, and today it's rarely seen thanks to the vaccine.
Yeah.
Taryn, what about getting vaccinated while pregnant? Are there vaccines that are a must when you're pregnant?
Yes. Well, in my opinion, and I think a lot of doctors do agree that the flu vaccine is really important. I always got the flu vaccine when I was pregnant. I have 2 children. I got it both times. It's important because, as a pregnant woman, you're really susceptible to disease just because your immune system is kind of down at that point. I mean, baby's really taking a lot out of you. And the cool thing about the flu vaccine is that when you get that during the flu season, and should you have your baby a month later, baby has protection against the flu. So that's really good. Babies are susceptible to flu and really, bad consequences sometimes from it. I mean, they can end up in the hospital. Another vaccine that moms should definitely get, and it's recommended for every mom, every single pregnancy, and you want to get it kind of to middle to end of the pregnancy. It's called it's not called DTaP, it's called Tdap for mamas, or you can get it as the tetanus pertussis vaccine. So pertussis is the vaccine that the moms really need to get. It's for whooping cough for babies. So like I said, the antibodies pass to baby. Baby doesn't get this pertussis shot until they're 2 months. So they're going to be protected for those 2 months should mom get the vaccine. Whooping cough is particularly bad for babies. I mean, they can end up in the hospital. They choke. They turn blue. They go to the hospital. I mean, some babies end up in hospitals for a long time. It's really bad. So if you can protect your baby before he or she's even born, I mean, that's worth doing, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, vaccine hesitancy is quite a problem for a number of reasons, and it became into being because of a number of different reasons. Taryn, what do you say to parents who question whether they should vaccinate their children?
Yeah, I get this all the time, but this is my job. So, honestly, I think we have to have open discussions, really, with parents. I like to sit down and talk to them, and I like to ask them questions and, be as non-judgmental as I possibly can. The other thing I really suggest doing if you're hesitant about vaccines and probably, on the fence, trying to come up with what you exactly want to do, is go, instead of research the vaccine, go and research what the disease looks like. Research what polio looks like in a 4-year-old, or say measles looks like in a 2-year-old, or, that kind of thing, because like I said, a lot of these diseases haven't been seen in our lifetime, so we don't know what they look like. Or maybe we don't remember what they look like. We don't remember what chickenpox looks like because we're not seeing it anymore. And, that's because of the vaccine. And, I think that's really important to do. So do that kind of research. And, of course, always talk to your doctor, important.
Now, what about doctor's visits, right? You have the kids that are scared, the needles, the whole system there. What advice do you have for those parents that are going through that?
Well, this is actually something that I really am passionate about, and I really would like to go talk to kids in schools about. So, honestly, and this was kind of brought up the other day for me, as I was sitting in the car with my friend, and she was talking about getting her blood drawn, and I said, don't worry, it's not that big of a deal. And she said, well, my mom used to take me to the doctor, and she would lie to me, and I would have to get vaccines, and I'd be so scared, and I'm still so scared. And honestly, what I do with my kids is I've been talking to them about it since they were little. Little. And we talk about, vaccines, what they do, and I know it's kind of a whole different thing because I'm the vaccine mom, but, we talk about what they do. Yes, they hurt. It's okay. I've shown my daughter pictures of what the diseases look like. I think it's never too early to start talking to your kids and keep talking to your kids. You have high schoolers that are scared. Keep talking to them. And I think it's kind of important to know a little bit about what you're talking about. So I would, do a tiny bit of research about this stuff beforehand if you're going to, talk to your 4-year-old or whatever. But the other thing I do is, I'll say, maybe not about vaccines, but other things, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to look it up. I'll find it for you. So, I think it's so important. Kids want to know the answers. I think you gotta, be honest. And, of course, bravery. I gotta reward them for bravery. We always go out for ice cream after.
There you go.
So, I think it's just so important to really talk to your kids. Keep talking.
Okay. Taryn, any other words of wisdom for parents concerning vaccines or any related topic?
I think listening to the doctors, the professionals, not getting on the internet and going down the rabbit hole of misinformation, find the right resources, think about other children, think about how you're going to create herd immunity for, your friends' kids that aren't able to get vaccinated, or, grandpa or whatever, the people that really need help. We have these amazing tools, and the reason why we don't have a lot of diseases now, we're not seeing them, is because of vaccines. And you really need to use these tools, trust your doctors, trust the health professionals, and, get vaccinated.
Okay, great advice. Taryn, if someone wants to check out your work, where can they find you?
Well, I'm at thevaccinemom.com, and you can find me on YouTube. I've just started some YouTube videos, and I'm gonna make more now that the kids are back in school. It's my plan. And then Facebook. So the Facebook is at thevaccinemom1. So you can find me there too.
Excellent.
And of course in parents, I write in parents. So I do some of the vaccine stuff for parents.
Great.
Online. Yeah.
Okay. Well, excellent. And I'll go ahead and link to those sites in the show notes page when I publish the podcast. And I want to thank you, Taryn Chapman, for sharing this valuable information with us today.
Thank you.